Hail to the king, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another Monday night. It's me and... Oh, I got caught up in that. Good thing this isn't live, right? It's me. It's Michael B. And the message this week is, we're back, baby. It's happening. It's all happening. Well, maybe not, but for the first time in a really long time last week, felt a lot like the old times where there was constantly news, constantly something to be excited about, companies battling other companies, putting out games, putting out announcements. Last week was pretty fun. Was it ever at the height of home arcade when like Arcade 1-Up was releasing 70 games a year? Probably not, but it gave us a glimpse of what the early days were like, and it was exciting. And it's nice to be excited every now and a while. Most of us don't want to come on here and just constantly shit on companies and bad decisions and mistakes. We want to talk about the fun stuff. And there was a lot of fun stuff to talk about last week. So we're going to get into that tonight. We're going to take a look back and some of the stuff I didn't cover in my last stream, some of the stuff that came out later in the week. So we'll have some fun here. I want to start out by saying hello to the people in the chat. If I don't catch you, I'm very sorry. But very early on, we had my buddy Dan Z here. Dan, you can always count on joining the show. Dan in St. Louis. Dr. Z is here. Jason's here for Double Dragon. I know he's super friggin' excited about it. Porta Dream is here, cautiously optimistic about the future. That's a very good way of looking at it. Best moderator in the business, Jason Little Alien. Corner Kate is here. Thumper Squid, Zero Redux. Who else we got? Art Sproul. I love my iconic arcade. Nice. Gamer Fridge is here. I actually tuned into Open Fridge, which I think he's turning into Open Blender in the near future. But anyways, I had a lot of fun, like a lot of quick hitting topics. If you guys have never checked out Open Fridge with JPal before Gamer Fridge, go check it out. It was a lot of fun tonight. Who else we got here? Stock Jock here. Let's get this Mike B party going. Ain't no party like a Mike B party when Mike B was asleep like 2 hours ago because he had a long and hectic day. Sorry for the thumbnail tonight, guys. Not my best work. Did home arcade ever truly leave? I don't know, man. I don't know. JJ asked what my favorite hockey team was. Even though I'm Canadian, this may surprise you, but I've been a Detroit Red Wings fan the majority of my life. Growing up here in Newfoundland, we'd always get American cable stations sent in. And for the majority of my life, that cable station actually came from Detroit. So it felt like they were our home team. I remember back in the day watching Bob Probert and Joey Kosher shave the Red Wings symbol in the sides of their heads. So that's what brought me in. And of course, Stevie Eisman, still my favorite player today. So yeah, still a Red Wings fan. It's been rough the last couple of years, no doubt about it. John Jay is here. Mike Hawk Hurts. Who else we got? Bill's Retro Gaming Show. Good to see you, Bill. The Real Zim is here. Conti Dinda. Conti, always good to see you, my man. J-Rod, Chris Ford. Charlie Chuck looking for the burger review. I haven't had a lot of good burgers lately. I've been trying to watch my weight a little bit. And with the prices of everything, like I used to go to Johnny Amaze all the time because it was $20, man, to get a burger and a giant poutine. Now you get a smaller poutine. You still get your burger, but it costs like $38. They added on tax and tips. And you know how it goes. Like something awesome doubles in price really quickly. B Kirby's here. Always good to see you, B Kirby. Nova Sonic. The bad guy, Mike Worley. Good to see you, my man. Ted Adam Green. Newer Ham Radio Elmer. I select none of the above. King Ed's here. Who else we got? MSU Rich, Derek Rochelle's. Do I got everybody? Nooners here. Pinball Junkies. Show Gecko. James hates everything. A bit of a sniper in Walkabout Mini Golf, I'll tell you that. Gramps Arcade is here. Chris Ogaz. A bike named Annabelle. Good name. Spider-Man 2021. Good to see you, my man. Thor KC is here. Want to make sure I got everybody. 8-Bit Bandit. At Games. Star Wars Release 219. I don't think so. I wish. I don't know when Star Wars is coming. I'm told it still is. Hopefully it's not going to be too long a wait. I know a lot of people are waiting for them. Red Wings are looking good right now. They just traded Ville Husso to the Anaheim Ducks earlier today. Mark James is here. Ritual Dello. Who else we got? Scott B. That Double Dragon release is only worth it if it includes Double Dragon Neon. Depends on which cab we're talking about, I think. And we're caught up. That's everything. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is Wonderland Amusements. I was lucky enough, P-Dubs asked me to join his interview with the staff from Wonderland last week. And obviously, ever since seeing the initial box at Pinball Expo and hearing the concept, there were a lot of concerns. There were concerns about Jerry designing the pinball because, I mean, let's be honest, Jerry's never designed a pinball machine before. So it felt a little strange that they weren't going to get some outside help, whether it be from somebody who's built a real pinball machine before or to somebody from the homebrew community. So it was kind of interesting. Really quickly here, we got a $2 super chat from my buddy Stringer Films. Stringer, it's been a while, my man. Good to see you. Sega Genesis NHL 94, only hockey game worth playing. He's not wrong, but it's not 100% true because they redid NHL 94 a couple of years ago with EA Sports. So there's a modern version of NHL 94 with like Ovechkin in them and stuff too. That one's pretty good too, man. NHL 94 was the best ever. I actually really liked, and I know people are going to hate this, NHL 97 on the Genesis as well. That was the one where like your players had special moves. It was so stupid, but that was one of the first Genesis games where you could actually trade players. I think 96 might have been the first game you could actually make the transactions in game, but oh man, I played the shit out of NHL 97. Holy cow. Oh, I brought up the super chat again. Just pre-ordered the iconic arcade Street Fighter 2, ordered a Jurassic Park ALP 4K, and I'm looking at grabbing that Kickstarter Alice. Chris, you are on a spending spree, my man. Holy God. Good for you, brother. Yeah, I think a lot of people will feel this way. Obviously, Wonderland Amusements didn't have money for big licensing rights right out of the hop, so they went with something that was public domain. Alice in Wonderland. It was actually bad timing too, because the guys over at I forget the name of the company now. Not Pinball Brothers, but there was another Alice in Wonderland themed pin unveiled at Pinball Expo. I think it's the same company that did Big Lebowski. Yeah, I could be wrong on that. But anyways, bad timing, but they stuck with it, and they look like they're putting together a pretty good machine. Yeah, I know. Chris, well, you got to talk to Stringer Films. Stringer Films know, even though $1,000 seems like a good deal, there's deals out there on older pins too, especially if you know what to look for. Like once upon a time, back in 2010, 2012, around that time, one of the gem pinball machines to pick up was NBA Fast Break, I think it was called. NBA something. I think it's NBA Fast Break, but like all the pinball guys were picking it up because it's an amazing game and it was super cheap. So you got to find that sweet spot. You can get some really cool classic pins for good deals. I know, JJ. I never thought anybody was ever going to catch any of Gretzky's records ever. I thought all of them were in stone. Amazed that Ovechkin is right there, and also amazed at the pace he's performing in this late stage of his career. Like, good for him. Someone's actually going to break one of Gretzky's records. They'll never break the points record because I don't know if it still exists, but at one point, number one in points was Wayne Gretzky, and number two in points was Wayne Gretzky's assists. So, yeah, that's quite the record. Anyways, on with the show. So I was lucky enough to meet with the team from Wonderland Amusements and get to interview them, ask them a lot of questions last week about the Shuffle Golf Kickstarter, how that went down, and how they were feeling about Kickstarter. And I mean, Jerry's enthusiasm that even if this wasn't going to go through on Kickstarter, he was going to bring the product out anyways. Really, it gave old vibes. And this is a bad example, but I'm sure lately everybody's turned against him. But you remember when P-Dubs did that interview with iArcade back in the day, and there was a lot of people on the fence about it. The emotion and passion really turned people the other way. Now that didn't work out, so don't assume that Jerry's young. But at the same time, it reminded me so much of that. It was such a fun interview, and we got to see the machine. So yeah, I mean, I got a couple pictures here that P-Dub shared in his Discord, so I'm going to try to bring those up for you guys, and we'll just look at it again. A lot of my questions were answered there last week, so I'm not really good at this whole presenting thing. I'm good at talking directly into the camera and doing nothing, but let's try this. So I'm going to share my screen here now, make it a little bit bigger. So here was the machine we saw. There's Alice Goes to Wonderland. There was a lot of things. I was really, really happy with this. One was when I saw the artist originally, all his work seemed so dark and gothic. And I was concerned because pinball is supposed to be light and fun and exciting. You don't want it to be too dark. I mean, you're mainly playing it in a dark room. You want it to stand out. So I was really excited to see the artwork. The artwork's bright, colorful. I think it looks good. It's clear. They cleaned up like some of the things we were unhappy with, like Alice's face looking kind of all drugged out or zombie-like, as some other people had said. So, I mean, from an aesthetic standpoint, yeah, this thing looks great. The only thing I really didn't like, of course, two things aesthetically, three things. I'm not I'm not super big on the chrome trim. I mean, I think they can change that. Too many of these home arcade companies, I don't know if they get bulk deals on chrome or what it is, but they always go with the chrome option, whether it be fake T-molding or trim. So I think they can do something different with that. I know they talked about different tiers with the Kickstarter, maybe some powder coating. That's an option, but me personally, I would have went with something else other than the chrome trim, maybe a black or maybe a different color. That's one option. I don't like the fact that there's no art on the front. So I think they heard us loud and clear on that. And also that coin door is atrocious. I mean, that's got to go. I'm fine with the buttons being on front, but I really like the option I had where just put a hinge on it and like leave your power and volume controls on the inside like they do on a real pinball machine. Hopefully they take us up on that. But otherwise, I thought the art was really, really nice looking. Now, is it going to let me jump to the next photo? Let's see. Yes. So there's another look at the machine. Oh, nope, going the wrong way now. So there's the other side. It's pretty much a mirror image again. There we get a look at the play field. So I got to say, I was pretty happy with this. The top of these bumpers definitely need stickers. Like a lot of these rails need some artwork and stuff over them right now. But I mean, a lot of the things, we're getting more detail on that castle, so it doesn't look so plain. You can see the Queen of Hearts in the window. You can see these 3D molds for the mushroom tops. So the Mad Hatter Bash toy. There's the flipper. The ramps look good. So this is coming along. And another concern I had in all this stuff was I was concerned that pinball's supposed to have a ton of lights. We're supposed to be excited by the light show. So I wasn't really seeing a lot of it in the early artwork or the early videos. So I got to ask Jerry, I said, how many's in there? And Jerry made me feel a lot better. There's going to be, I think, 50 LED lights on the play field. So we're going to see lots of a light show. I can't wait to see all that in action. So there it is. We also got another look at the side of the machine. I like the back box. I like the art on the back box. I think they did a good job with that. There's a better look at the play field, and you can see the toys. I love that ramp with the cards going up, but I'm so happy that they told us they're going to make this a clear plastic ramp. I mean, this is not great. I love the wire form rails here, but this definitely has to be a clear plastic here in order for this to be good. So Yeah, so far, I gotta say, I'm relatively happy with the Wonderland pinball. Really good interview, a lot of fun, good people. I'm excited to see where this project goes. So I think they got a lot of work to do before they actually put this on Kickstarter. And I don't know if they have enough time. It'll be interesting to see what stage the machine's at by the time they get the Kickstarter open. I know they're going to be at WonderCon, but I also hope they can get out to a couple other locations. I know that's going to be tough, but pinball's like that. I mean, with pinball, half of the sales pitch isn't the video, the promotion, all that stuff. That's not what sells it. It's the actual experience. And they need to sell the experience, and you can't do that without allowing people to play it. So hopefully they get it out there. But from all the cool aesthetic things and stuff like that, it looks like they got a winner there. Now, some people are concerned about the gameplay, and that's fair. I mean, you looked at it even when Jerry was playing, and Jerry's a much better pinball player than Peter was, but at the same time, the ball seems to be moving extremely fast, which might be a problem with the mechanics of making pinball go to a smaller size. So it'll be interesting to see how they get a handle on that. And again, that's when it comes down to the actual gameplay, getting it out there for people to try. You can make a million promotional videos. All these pinball companies could, Spinball, Spooky, Turner, all that stuff, but it's getting it out there, letting people get their hands on it, which really makes the difference. So, no, I won't be at WonderCon, man. I live in Newfoundland, Canada, and I was telling Biggie D earlier because he told me he's going to Texas Pinball, and he was like, "You should come." And I was like, "You have no idea how expensive it is for me to travel from here. Where I live on an island, it's super expensive to just get off the island. So I think like to get to Texas." If I book like this late, it's probably going to cost me like round trip like $2,000, somewhere between $1,400 and $2,000. And I mean that's a no go. I would love to go to more conventions. Believe me, I would absolutely love to go to more conventions. It's just I don't have that kind of cash, guys. And I'm not one of these big YouTubers that they're flying out and paying for their accommodations. So yeah, if you live 30 minutes from Anaheim, 100%, and yeah, maybe I could stay with B. I don't think I'd be able to get away with it. My kids and wife would kill me if I was going that close to Disneyland and not taking them with me. Broken clock is right twice a day. Breaking news. So, anyways, yeah. So, uh, Jim says it sounds like they had a retailer already lined up. That's true. And Nooner brings up a really good point that we asked him about. I'm more concerned with potentially not having replacement parts. I think for this truly to be a success, they're going to have to set up a parts store, a lot like Arcade One Up did when they first launched. So, where they're going to be manufacturing their own parts, and if they're going to be smaller scale, then they do have to open up a parts store. I think it will be a really smart idea on their part if they're going to make their own parts to make them regular scale and to allow tinkerers to do what tinkerers do. It's one of the things that, even though I've never done it, I'm not a tinkerer, a lot of people were successful with Arcade One Up. They would buy an Arcade One Up unit and then put better buttons in it. They would put, more commercial grade buttons. They would put commercial style joysticks to improve the experience. So even though Wonderland Amusements is making their own parts, they should have had a mindset for people may want to beef up their machine and made their own parts in the same scale, but allowed people to easily buy replacements. Now, I think that's on the field. I don't know about solenoids and all the stuff like that. More information is going to have to come out by the time that that machine goes to Kickstarter. But anyways, awesome reveal of the week, Wonderland. It's been fun watching them grow. It's been fun watching the company come along. Are they there yet? I don't know, but they've certainly come a long way since we first saw the empty box at Pinball Expo, which was a bold move. So, really cool to see what they're doing. Jamie Loken says, I think Wonderland is doing cool, but I'll just play my games for KP. Jamie's not the biggest Wonderland fan. He sent me a picture of a Star Wars, like cheap Walmart pinball machine earlier, and he said that's going to be better than Wonderland Amusements. I know it's not for everybody. Like there's some people that, they're looking at it. They're like, digital pinball is, $1,000 to $1,500. I can just play that and play mini games, but I would advise you to try the Wonderland first and see what you think of that. It's only going to be one game and that one game over and over again, but we'll see. Hey, Chaotic BPR. Ever since he got his new job, he's so much more available for streams. But at the same time, I'm gonna miss him in the kitchen. Great for a little girl's playroom. I'm scared I'll have a lot of fun playing it, and then other YouTubers will call me a shill. Wait, I don't care. Yeah, that's the crazy thing, right? Like, if someone just decides they don't like something, and if someone else likes something and they're on YouTube, obviously they're a shill doing over positive reviews and stuff like that. There's no middle ground where they can say, hey, I don't like it, but maybe they do. Like, it's like me. I don't love my arcade. Like, I like pole position. I thought that was pretty good, but the rest of the stuff is still the rest of the stuff. But I don't look at other people and say, oh, they're a shill because they like it. You like what you like. I mean, geez. So, anyways, that was the first bit of good news. I mean, that's something we expected. I don't know if anybody expected Wonderland to perform like they did. So good for them. We're gonna follow that, learn more about the Kickstarter, and again, like I said, hopefully we'll get some good video from WonderCon, and not just produce video from Wonderland Amusements at WonderCon, because it's so easy to put in the good stuff, hide the negative. I hope there's some community people go. I know B's close to the area. I know B's not doing a lot of YouTube lately, but it'd be awesome for B to go down and give us his honest opinion. You can count on B to tell you the truth. Yeah, someone, if anybody's in the area, like Chris, you said you were going to be in the area a little earlier, Chris Ogaz. So if you're there, let us know what you think of it when you go check it out at WonderCon. Sorry, guys, I'm still dying of this cold. I talked to my accountant at work today, and I was like, "Yeah, I sent you a couple emails." He was like, "I got a cold," and I was like, "I got it too." So it looks like it's turning into a sinus infection. That's what happened to him, and I'm guessing that's what happened with me. So I'm still not over it. It sucks. Anyways, so moving on, we did have a little bit more news. I know a lot of people are mentioning new Evercade carts. First one they're mentioning, and this one, I don't know, it's a weird in between, because Evercade, we've always talked about them and considered them to be home arcade, but they're really not. I mean, they're more retro gaming, but they do have a place in the home arcade community. So last week they announced a new Evercade arcade collection based on Atari, and some people are really excited about it. Me personally, I think it's a really good cart. Like, it's going to sell out like every other Evercade cart does. It's an Atari collection. Let me get some video up on that and show you guys what I'm talking about. That's probably the best way to say it. So it's an Atari collection, but not really. That's what I put down there, because really this is a Stern collection, because the two banner games on this are Berserk and Frenzy, which may now be owned by Atari, but let's not kid ourselves. These were not Atari games, but they're also put on a cartridge with a bunch of other deep cuts from Atari games I've never heard of. But then again, I'm not like the deepest like knowledge base of arcade. I know what I like and I know what I'm familiar with, but I don't know everything. So, I mean, a lot of these other games, they'll be new for me to try. Obviously, I'm going to pick it up because of Berserk and Frenzy, but all the other games are going to be new to me. So I'll see if they're any fun. I don't know. Anyways, let me just bring this up for you guys. Evercade Atari cart from the loudest keyboard in the world. Oh my god, there's so many reviews. I just want the Evercade video, damn it. There we go. Piggy, I love the European game commercials. That's my favorite. Hopefully my computer doesn't fritz out when I try to share this now. We're not going to share audio. There we go. Peggy 13. It's Peggy 3. But anyways, here's the Evercade Atari cart. Evercade presents such a good job. I love their videos. They put together a good production here. Atari Collection 2. There it is in the Nostalgia Evercade and the EXP-R. Lost Tomb, I've never heard of in my whole entire life. Minefield, I've never heard of in my whole entire life. Moon War, I've never heard of in my entire life. Yeah, that's the ad. I mean, obviously, well, Rescue, no idea. Tasmania, no idea. Fire Truck, Black and White, no idea. Dark Planet, oh, that's an overlay game. Maze Invaders, that one sounds familiar. Anyways, the big reason most people are going to be buying this is for Berserk and Frenzy, right? So that's the first one. And then we had another announcement that's definitely more console based than it is arcade based, and people probably aren't as excited about this. And honestly, the this is where the franchise started to go a little bit downhill. But I still want to show it off. Oh, I get to do my voicing in. I love these British ads. Multiple Stern arcade games there, which includes Tasmania. I did not know that, Jason. Thank you very much. Because they bought the whole Stern library. So it's so funny. It's like Atari Collection 2, but it's not Atari. So here was the other big announcement from Evercade last week. Evercade presents, and people knew this was coming. I was surprised. Two more epic adventures in the Tomb Raider franchise. What do they got this one called? It's just Tomb Raider Collection 2. These are games I've never played. I played the original 3 Tomb Raiders on PlayStation, but I'm not familiar with these games at all. I still haven't picked up the first cart, to be honest. That's something I gotta rectify soon before it's sold out. Now we're getting the collection 2. It looks like these are later in the PlayStation's life. Graphics seem to be a little bit more bumped up. You know, Lara's still got it going on. Look at that. Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation and Tomb Raider Chronicles. Yeah, if anybody here has played them, let me know what you think of them. Is this a good collection? Is this something that's exciting? I mean, 2 announcements in the last, like, 2 weeks. That's not bad for Evercade, constantly coming out with new shit, man. And I mean, those are just a couple games that Evercade are coming out with. There's other Evercade news that we got very early in the year. I think it was kind of like their CES announcement was the SNK partnership. So we know SNK games are obviously coming to the Evercade. But the real question is, what else are they doing with that SNK license? Like, we know they've already came out with the alpha. They've just done a restock on the 2 alphas that came out with the Capcom branded alphas, Mega Man and Street Fighter. What I'm told is Evercade is blown away by the sales, how the sales went for the Evercade. They're really excited for it. So I think Evercade Alpha, I think there's a real chance we're going to see more Evercade Alphas coming down the line. And with the SNK license, it just makes sense to make a Big Red, a 2-slot Big Red that you can put your Evercade cartridges in. I love that idea. And maybe since their Evercade Alphas sold so well, maybe one day they'll consider doing something a little bit more significant, a little bit more sizely. If this sells well enough, it may open up an avenue for them to consider doing something a little bit more our size, something you can play not on a desk, but actually in your home. Anyways, Evercade still doing fun stuff. Probably not the most exciting announcement. Again, like, these are mostly Stern arcade games, Berserk and Frenzy, and then Tomb Raider. These are the games that a lot of us probably didn't play because we were kind of over the Tomb Raider stuff at that time. But still, pretty exciting announcement for Evercade. Thor KC knows what's up. Evercade Alpha XXL. A lot of people were asking me, can you call a Little Red a Big Red? That's a really good point. They would have to call it the Little Big Red. A lot of people are trying to tie 2 and 2 together that John might have had some doings with Evercade when it came to the Alpha. Who knows? An XXL running SNK carts would be a thing. 100%. I mean, it's one of the things I said with Arcade 1-Up's model back then when they lost out on the SNK license. I was totally cool with it because an SNK Arcade 1-Up at the time didn't make any sense. I mean, what would you get? You get a King of Fighters arcade one up. The art would be all fucked up. It wouldn't be SNK Big Red art. It would be specific King of Fighters art, and you would just have a bunch of King of Fighters games on it. It made so much more sense when a company like Unico came around, understood what the product was. It's a giant multi-cave with tons of games on it that actually looks like a Big Red. So I'm glad Arcade One Up never got their hands on the SNK license back then, because I don't think they would have done it justice. And I think Unico did a much better job than they ever could. Now, we're going to talk about the future with Unico. There's a lot of rumors that Unico are working on something kind of like what Iconic Arcade's doing, maybe another MBSX, but maybe something a little bit bigger. Those rumors are out there. Would love to see it, but if not, I mean, this new Evercade partnership with SNK, it just makes sense where they're cartridge games. You got slots right on it. Make the arcade, make it happen. Still losing my voice here, guys. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, moving on from there, we got a little bit of pinball news last week. Don't know if you guys were watching, but At Games released a new Williams game last week. Unfortunately, for people that were looking for Star Wars didn't happen. We all know why. Obviously, when it comes to Star Wars, there I am. When it comes to Star Wars, unfortunately, it got delayed or something like that due to the leak with the Tomb Raider pinball, which is very convenient. We were just talking about Tomb Raider. So with leak, that whole calendar that came out got completely whacked. So while people were super excited about the big Star Wars pinball pack coming out this month, it didn't happen. What we did get in its place was two Williams games. Of course, as P Dubs pointed out, some of the At Games influencers accidentally kind of spilled the beans earlier. Like I don't know T. McCloskey, but from what I know, he seems like a good guy. I don't think there was anything malicious happening there. I think he was just, doing his thing. But it turns out the two games that he showed off and talked about are the two games that are coming out. Anyways, I'll show you the first one, which was a huge surprise to me. And maybe it's just my ignorance, but the first game we're going to talk about here is, in fact, Black Rose. And I've got to say, I was very impressed with this. I didn't have high hopes going into it. Black Rose was always a game I skipped just because when it comes to those Williams games, there's so many awesome Williams games to play through in the Zen library. So it's just one I never really played. It wasn't on the original arcade one up, Attack from Mars. And, FX3, I've just always skipped it. So that's on me. But playing it after I got it on the At Games Legends Pinball last week, I realized what a fun game it was. It has a lot of features I really like. Like one of them is this roundabout to the flipper that you try to get back into the roundabout again. Reminds me so much of Godzilla. Godzilla has the exact same mechanic, except it's on the other side. And the cannon, how to get into the modes, the multi-ball, everything was super fun. This game is so much better than I gave it credit for. And, I wish I started playing it earlier, but at least I had that surprise when I did my live stream last week playing for this for the first time and saying, holy shit, this is a really, really good game. Now, me personally, I don't know a lot about Party Zone. That's another one I've never really played. Is it going to be another surprise where I'm excited? I don't know. We'll have to see. Did any of you guys here in the chat play Party Zone? Anybody have already checked it out? Do you have opinions on it? I've already seen a couple people saying, "Oh, well, Party Zone's a pass for me." Let me know your thoughts on Party Zone. That's what I'm excited about. Chaotic's asking, "Are you excited for Party Zone later this week?" I am. But you know what? And I don't know because I don't have any memory of it. Again, this is one of those games I've always skipped. I kinda wanna play it on Zen Pinball FX and just try it out first, but I also don't wanna ruin that surprise. So, yeah, I like to hear this. I know Chaotic, has been doing some testing, so he says the SSF kit is gonna be super loud on Party Zone. That's something else I gotta say about Black Rose. That is one of the best uh, Pinball FX Williams games and Pinball FX games interacting with the SSF kit. So excited to see what they do with Party Zone. Chris HG says Party Zone is a good table, very busy layout. Jason Little Alien says Party Zone's okay. It's worth $5 for sure. That's the other thing. It's not like we're talking about 30 bucks here, guys. It's a $5 game. If you don't like it, I mean, I don't know. You can refund it back games, right? Or at least put it back. I don't know, but I mean, it's $5. I'm just waiting for this to come up. Sorry. Party Zone is pretty damn good. Just takes a bunch of games for you to realize how good it is. That's pinball. Really good pinball, of course, is those games that's easy to play, but tough to master. And sometimes you're turned off by a game that's immediately challenging to you. TMNT Stern's another one. Everybody calls it a drain monster. Like it's so hard. You get low points, so people turn off from it. We'll have to see. I did not know that. I'm not up on my Thin Lizzy Nooner. Oh, yeah, World Cup is fantastic. The real World Cup is fantastic. It's good on Pinball FX. I know when it came out initially, it wasn't the best experience, but they really cleaned it up. World Cup Soccer is a damn fine game. That's a win on At Games, let me tell you that right now. Party Zone is wild, very 90s theme. Black Rose is probably the stronger table. Yeah, that's fair. Anyways, I'm still excited to check out Party Zone, but I go back and talk about how we're back. What I have always liked about the way At Games have been doing these pinball releases is there's constantly something to look forward to. One of the things I loved about the iArcade, even though the payoff wasn't always there every single week, was it always seemed like there was something new coming out to it. There was something constant to be excited about. And we don't have that, especially in home arcade the last couple of years. But one area where we did get that was with At Games. These pinball releases having calendars, knowing what's coming out. Sometimes the calendars disappear because of bad stuff, and we don't get what we thought when we thought. But having constant releases like this, even if it is only a small sample, it's only software, that's exciting for me. And that's one of the things that I love about my At Games Legends Pinball 4K is every week there's something new. Not everything is perfect and not everything is great that comes out for it, but most of it is pretty fun. Like they're trying really good stuff here. Magic Pixel's been good. Zen, I always enjoyed it, but they've really ramped that up ever since they did the fix. OTG's fix is coming. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. We've also got Primal Carnage this week. That's going to be EM table. I'm not super big on EM. Like some EM games I like Shooting the Rapids I like. We'll have to see. Hits the Party Zone in the nudie bar and it costs way more than $5. Not at Gatsby's, brother. So yeah, two new pinball games coming out this week, and then we're gonna get the March calendar. And hopefully, for people upset that Star Wars wasn't last month, I don't know. I don't have any inside information, but hopefully, we get Star Wars next month, or maybe some other stuff in the Williams library gets bumped up. Maybe we get Medieval Madness soon. Like, arguably, there's two games in the Williams library. That's number one and number two. Number one is Attack from Mars. We got that, but what we don't have Medieval Madness. And when Medieval Madness comes out, I will rule you. I will reign supreme just after I finish these here beers. Jimmy King's in the house. I can't wait for Medieval Madness. So excited. Ooh, maybe a little bit of a tease from Brooklyn Menace. Maybe Star Wars has been delayed till May because of a specific day. Brooklyn man, so good to see you. You missed the Evercade chat, brother. We were talking all about Evercade. Oh yeah, and we completely forgot about that. Battletoads and Killer Instinct were supposed to be out last month. They kept them in the oven for a little while longer, needed a little bit more cooking, so that's not a bad thing, man. LOL, I'm Brooklyn now. Oh, I might have hit the wrong one. Brooklyn. Anyways, guys, so moving on. Last thing I want to talk about here tonight is, of course, Iconic Arcade. And Iconic Arcade really surprised everybody on Friday. I actually had a thumbnail, had the show all set up for Super Game Room Dudes. I was done, did it early in the day because I had other shit to do. I was sitting back, sipping margaritas. And by margaritas, I mean coffee because I'm a dad with two small kids. And I was just, ready for the show to happen. And P Dubs writes me, he's like, "Oh, Iconic Arcade, Double Dragon, change the thumbnail. We got to get the views." And I was like, "No, I made a really good thumbnail," but I went back and agreed to it anyways. So yeah, they kind of shocked everybody last week. Let me get downloads. Where the hell have you gone? Where are you? Where are you, Iconic Arcade? Did I delete it? No, here it is. So let me bring this up on screen. This has created some controversy. Some people are mad at me. Some people are mad at other people. So basically, what we got was a tweet from Arc System Works, basically mentioning that they now have an official sponsor for the finals of the Arc World Tour 2024. Iconic Arcade joins the finals, catch all the action at the finals, and they identified that part of the sponsorship with Iconic Arcade is they're bringing 2 Double Dragon theme machines to the Arc World Tour finals. Now, here's the thing. There's no guarantee these are coming out. Like, these aren't officially announced. There's been nothing from Iconic Arcade to confirm this. There's no retail slot. We don't know shit yet, but it's exciting. Like, you think about it, we're only into January, only into February, second month of the year of 2025. We've already got a brand new product from Iconic Arcade announced early at CES with the Street Fighter 2 World Warrior and Street Fighter Alpha 2 cabs. Very exciting. And a lot of us thought, well, that's it. That's the only announcement coming from Iconic Arcade for a while. They'll see how this sells, and maybe we'll get a second one this year, maybe, or maybe we'll get more next year. Nobody expected, I don't think, any other Iconic Arcade news this year. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they're going to be the official sponsor for the Arc World Tour. Now, maybe I'm way too optimistic here, but I don't see Iconic Arcade doing this unless they're cooking something. I don't think this is a one and done. I think this is something they're looking to do. Now, with the Revive, I will be honest, if there is a cab here that's 100% possibly a one and done, it might be Double Dragon Revive. We don't know what the specs are for Double Dragon Revive. We don't know how hard it is going to be for that to run. Can a Pi 5 run it? We don't know. Double Dragon, on the other hand, I think that's pretty much a sure thing. I know John D has always wanted to do that one. Even going back to his Arcade 1-Up days, he was pissed that iArcade got the license for it. And if you believe John, apparently they got the license for it the wrong way. They went through back doors and signed a contract without the front team knowing. So it screwed over Arcade 1-Up. That was some of the animosity between those two companies. But this is one he's always wanted to do. And I love it personally. So let me jack this up and we'll focus on the cabs here for a bit. I love it personally because there was always going to be issues with them doing Double Dragon. I talked about it. They can never do the original Double Dragon cab, even though in my opinion, that's the more iconic one. A lot of people consider Double Dragon 2 to be the better looking cab. Me personally, it's the original Double Dragon, even with the awful Taito side art. And they nailed it, man. Like, everything is pretty much perfect. Outside of having the word Taito going across the side of the screen, I also noticed Taito in the marquee, but that just could be artwork and they forgot to scrub that part. I think all the Taito stuff will come out of the final release. But I mean, look at this. It's glorious. It's exactly like the original. It's everything I would want from an arcade recreation. They killed it. And this was just such fun news. So exciting. I don't know about you, MG. You think we've all been mugged off. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Yeah, 100% with me too. Like, I know how vocal I was talking shit about Street Fighter 2 The World Warrior, but not with this one. They nailed it, in my opinion. It's everything it should be. And again, it falls to the same stuff that we dealt with Arcade 1-Up. If you're upset that the Taito's not on the side, just get a sticker. Chaotic BPR, I will continue to pass. Not my jam. Still waiting for a title I'm excited about. That's fine. Like, you don't just buy something because it comes out. You get something because you want it. And let's be honest here, guys. Like, a lot of us have been collecting these for a couple of years. Unless it's something that means something to you, you're probably not going to get something if it involves moving something out of your arcade at this point. And that's where I'm to. So unless a game is something that means something to me, I don't give a shit. I'm not getting it. Like, I'm not going to buy something just because it's new. What's a good example of a game? I got to think of one now. Name a game in the chat, and I'll just tell you right out. Like Tekken. Here we go. Ritual Dello says he's a Tekken fan. And I know a lot of people want a Tekken cab. Like Travis MCP, I know 100% he wanted a Tekken cab. But for me, if they did a Tekken cab, I'd be like, it's not my jam. I wasn't super into the arcade in that era. I've never been the biggest Tekken guy. So 100%, I would just pass. I wouldn't get it. And, that's not a shot at any company or anything like that. You buy what you want to buy. I've got a full arcade downstairs, so I need to get something I'm interested in. I have already told the story. Double Dragon means the world to me. Like, this is a cab my buddy Dave had in his basement growing up. His dad, who was an electrician, he was fixing it, so it was there for like a month, 2 months. We played the shit out of it. That brings back memories for me. That brings back nostalgia for me. That means a lot for me. So that's why I'm so excited to see this. Yeah, obviously Robotron. If someone does a Robotron, I'm probably going to get it. Unless it has a 16:9 widescreen monitor, then they can go fuck themselves. Yeah, you don't have to buy everything. Like, there's no need of doing that. Literally, save your money. Huh. Double Dragon was only distributed by Taito. It was developed by Toplan. I suspect more Toplan arcade games on it. You don't think it's going to be Technos, Jason? Interesting. Interesting. Yes, Stock Jock, we are 100% there. I'm so confused now. Werewolf Queef. I saw a couple of reviews for these. They don't seem like good plug and play selections. I don't know if we're on the same video here, man. Are you responding to one of my other videos? I don't know. I love MG. Hey, that Double Dragon Genesis was badass. Now, Double Dragon Master System was good too, but a lot harder. Yeah. There you go. Technos, not Toe Plan. Yeah, you kind of threw me off there with the Toe Plan, but arcades were so incestuous like that back in the day. Like, what is it? Track and Field is a Konami game, but like it was in a Century cab, so like there's problems with the artwork if they ever do a Track and Field cab. Kind of like Frogger's a Konami game, but it was in a Sega cab, so Sega owns the artwork. There's all kinds of issues like that, Jason. 100% agree. Yeah, Kurt the Daring makes a really good point. This is what I'm saying about Media One Up Street Fighter Cabs announcements pre-order. Not my thing, but I'm excited for them. Hoping that opens the doors for more games I'm interested in. Tell me about it, man. He scammed the shit out of Walmart. Got everybody $249 Miss Pac-Man Deluxes. Yeah, the Double Dragon Master System was hard. Very hard. Now, Double Dragon Atari 2600, masterclass in how to make a game absolutely terrible. I'll never forget going over to my friend's house. Like, you remember we were in that ripe age. Well, I don't know if everybody's the same age as me, but I was in that ripe age in the 80s, around 7, 8 years old. So it would have been 87, 88. And your friend would be like, do you want to come over and play video games? And you assume that he has Nintendo. So you assume you're going over to play like some of the blockbuster games like Mike Tyson's Punch Out, or you're going to go play like Double Dragon, Mega Man 2. Those were the games that we were all excited for back then. So I went over to my one friend's house and I'm like, what are we playing? And he's like, Double Dragon. I'm like, hell yeah. Except it was the Atari 2600 version. And I went home unhappy that night. Fuck that guy, man. I'm glad I wasn't friends with him afterwards. Retro Lizard says, too soon for a new announcement. These won't be out till October. Announcement should have came after the first cab ship. I don't disagree with you. I think that's why there's no official announcement here. I think they're just testing the waters now. I'll throw something else out there that people aren't going to like. I think people might be surprised by this. There's also another chance that this could just be John D. Get ready for this. Greasing the wheels with Arc System Works for the Technos licenses because he has big plans to eventually do a WWF Superstars or WrestleFest cab. That's something that he's always wanted to do. I know that one personally. John talked to me about it a lot back in the day after I made a video like talking about how WrestleFest wouldn't be the game we would want it to be because so many superstars weren't going to be in it. He talked to me about possible ways that he could fix it because he can't get those guys and stuff like that. He went to WrestleMania to try to work on the license when he was still with Arcade 1-Up. I know he wants to do it. So there's an outside chance there is no Double Dragon coming and he wants to do a WrestleFest. So that's why he's greasing the wheels with Arc System Works. I will say that. That's a possibility. But again, we just got some amazing news. Chaotic brought this up, and this is what I was hoping for. The administration has changed with WWF. They're a much more business-centered company now. A lot of the old grudges are gone from the Carney days. The long Carney days are over. So one of the greatest tag teams of all time, my personal favorite tag team of all time. People may say they're a Legion of Doom ripoff, but to me, they were the original because I wasn't watching NWA back in those days. I didn't even know about the Legion of Doom until probably around 88 when I first started to find out about NWA. So for me, growing up, being that WrestleMania 4 kid that started watching slightly after WrestleMania 3, right to WrestleMania 4, immediately fall in love with Randy Savage. Of course, my favorite tag team was Demolition. They were so cool. They would say things about horror movies that I loved. They would talk about walking down Elm Street and doing stuff with Freddy Krueger, and I just loved them. So recently, even though they long time sued WWF over like the concussion lawsuit and stuff like that, they've been welcomed back into the team. They've signed Legends deals. So if they were to move forward with a WrestleFest cab in the future because of the WWE Legends deal and because that grudge is no longer a big deal, Demolition can be added back to the game. And I'm thinking that a lot of the people that weren't able to be there, like Legion of Doom, whose Legends deals lapsed, Sergeant Slaughter, who got a new deal with Hasbro for G.I. Joe toys. I think some of this stuff can be worked around and these people can be put back in the game so we could get a proper WrestleFest from one of these home arcade companies. So, it's weird. It's all about timing. It's all about stars aligning. And we now have this new company that's greasing the wheels with Arc System Works, maybe doing a Double Dragon cab, but maybe a Double Dragon cab is a way to move the whole boat forward to get to the big end goal of doing a WrestleFest cab someday. 100% on WrestleFest. Make it a 2-player and not a 4-player cabinet. But it's kind of tough because there were 2-player WrestleFest, so I'd be okay with that. We don't really need a 4-player cabinet, but in terms of accuracy, you kind of want... I figured you for more of a Bushwhackers guy. Where is this? I just see played. I can't see you, Retro Lizard. Was there another comment or is this from your first one? I got to see if I can catch up. Yeah, I was a big Demolition guy. Story from my youth now. I'll just tell you really quickly. When I can't remember how old I was, but I remember I started playing soccer for the first time and I sucked at soccer. Didn't understand the game. I was terrified of the ball. I was your typical shitty soccer kid playing soccer for the first time. But my dad tried to, I don't know what the right term for it is. He tried to motivate me to actually take it serious. And he said, I'll tell you what, if you score a goal, you're going to get a LJN Superstars WWF action figure. And the one he went and picked up, I remember from the byway close here, he went and got Demolition Axe. And I was so friggin' excited that very next game, because he made that, bribe with me if I scored a goal. We had a star player on our team, this guy, Ryan Pottle, amazing soccer player back then. But what the coach always used to do, whenever there was a penalty shot, he let him take the penalty shot. So I was on the field, and I think I was tripped up. So I got, technically it was my penalty shot, but they were bringing on the sniper, Ryan, to take the penalty shot. And I lost it. I said, no way, no, this is my shot. Because I knew I got the penalty shot. If I scored a goal, I was going to get my axe figure. So anyways, I got in a huge fight, wouldn't let Ryan do it. And they finally let me kick it. And like my dad was watching, he was like, Mike's going to flub this. Mike's terrible. And I tell you, I don't know what took over. Like, I don't know if it was the motivation or like a second force came into me. It's like Pele transferred into my body at that moment. And I kicked the prettiest top right corner goal you had ever seen on the penalty shot, and immediately ran to my dad, jumped up in his arms, and he dropped me on the ground. And I didn't give a shit about scoring my first goal in soccer. All I cared about was when I got home, I was getting my Demolition Axe LJN Superstar figure. What's football, MG? I don't know what football is. We grew up in North America. We call it soccer. I know it's football. 2 comments above. Just make it a two played cabinet. That's what it is. Okay, gotcha. Hey, give LJN a break here. I am an advocate for the LJN NES games. Dad, drop you. That explained a lot. Oh, MG, you caught me. Hey, LJN Superstars were quality damn toys. And let me tell you, the games aren't that bad either. A lot of the games, the Angry Video Game Nerd massacred, like Back to the Future, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, are a lot better games than they get credit for. Jamie Loken knows the toys were incredible. LJN Superstars were the shit. That's why people still collect them like crazy today. That's why Matt Cardona's making the big rubber guys line from the Major Wrestling Figures podcast. And if I had unlimited amounts of money, I would have bought every single one of those big rubber guys. Yes, the NES movie games. Some of them are really good. If I had to do a top 5, I would immediately say Back to the Future 1, not Back to the Future 2 and 3, because that is absolute dog shit. Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and Jaws. I don't know. I'd have to think about the 5th one, maybe Karate Kid, but like, oh my God, like LGN gets way too much shit. Their NES games are better than you think. I mean, you look at it, Rare, like, Donkey Kong Country, Killer Instinct, GoldenEye. That's the company that made a Nightmare on Elm Street LJN. And what company did Friday the 13th? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. That was actually a pretty big company too. A lot of really amazing, serious companies actually worked on these games. I actually got to figure that out now before I go. Who made Friday the 13th NES? All right, Wikipedia. That's a reliable source. Publisher Atlas. Do you not know Atlas? Like Persona? What is it? Metamorph Refantasio? That same Atlas made Friday the 13th for the NES. Yes, man. LJN Jaws is awesome. It's incredible. I have proudly beaten LJN Jaws. I've stabbed the shark with the boat. I've done it. Yeah, if you guys ever want to talk NES, you've come to the right place. Let me tell you. No, Atlas, ATLUS, Atlas. Like all LJN was a publishing house, so they would go out and get third-party companies to make the games. And there's some very impressive companies that make these games. For some reason, I was thinking Acclaim. Yeah, at one point I had, I think it was like 90% of the North American NES collection, including unlicensed games. I really like the Nintendo, But what happens is you have children, you don't have a lot of space, and you need money. So you sell stuff. If a couple years ago, the same thing happened with my Arcade One Up collection. You have always come to the right place, Pitbull. Anyways, that's what I want to say. I'm excited. I really hope that this Double Dragon tease that we're getting, the cab they're making as part of the sponsorship for the event, turns into something more. Me personally, I don't really care about the Revive cab. I don't know if that's going to be anything more. But you know what surprised me was a lot of people in the comments were all in on that one. They did not care about the original Double Dragon. They were saying things like, iArcade already had Double Dragon, now Revive. Hook it to my veins, which surprises me, but then again, different strokes for different folks. Atlas wept. Yeah, early THQ, not so good. Arc System Works. I want a Guilty Gear cabinet. Most expensive one I ever bought personally was I dropped $500 for Little Samson. So that's the most money I ever spent on a single game. I bought a lot of other expensive ones too, but I had like a rough rule that I didn't really want to pay more than $100. And like times were so different back then, back in 2010, 11, and 12, when I was really collecting. Like, there were very few like very pricey carts outside of like stadium events and Nintendo Gold Edition. Like my buddy Phil Mullins, 2 years before me, from a retail shop, got a Little Samson complete in box for $100. So yeah, there was still some deals. I remember I got my Kickmaster for 50 cents at a flea market, which is a game well over $100 now. Same Porta Dreams, same. I managed to keep it when I bought my house, but I ended up having to let it go. I think it was like little over a year into getting our house. My wife had just got pregnant. We had like all this unsecured debt that was just sitting there. And I was like, you know what? We got an apartment downstairs. We're losing the room all my stuff is in because that's going to be our daughter's room. So screw it. Like, let's be adults and I'll sell this stuff and pay off her debt. And that's what I did. Yeah. Medium Samson. Is it a sex thing, MG? I don't know. Yeah, scalping started to get really bad. That was right around the time that like a lot of the thrift stores started getting wise to like the prices of games. So there was no such thing as going in anymore and finding like, a $2 game. You would walk into a thrift store and they'd have eBay prices on the games. You'd be like, I'm just not going to come here anymore. There's no thrill of the hunt anymore. Like it was still fun to collect. You get into the right situation. Like some stores were reasonable when how they priced, or you'd find another collector that was getting out of the hobby. You could still get deals, but it was getting rough, man. And like I was kind of done with collecting at that point too, because like it wasn't fun anymore. Anyways, guys. Yes, Stupid Fat Hobbit, I apologize. I'll go back to that really quickly. Demolition just signed Legends deals, Axe and Smash. Crush is, I don't know where Crush stands with that, but they have the rights to Demolition now, and Crush was the real character in the game. So Smash is good, but I don't know if they still have Crush under a Legends deal. Jacques Rougeau was incredible. Incredible. His character as the Mountie was great. I read something on that the other day. I don't know if you know this, but his brother-in-law, Jacques Rougeau's brother-in-law, was an actual Mountie, and he trained with him for like 2 months, learning everything about the Mountain Police to actually correct the gimmick, because Vince promised him a big push. He eventually did win the Intercontinental title, even though it was only for one night, and went on to become obviously a multi-time tag team champion with Pierre as the Quebecers. They did some really good stuff. A lot of people don't know this. The Rougeaus actually won the WWF Tag Team Championships, the Fabulous Rougeau brothers, at a house show in Montreal as a face tag team over the heel Hart Foundation at the time. But WWF never acknowledged the title win. There's bunches of those stories out there. Like the Rockers wanted at a TV taping, but the rope broke, so they canceled the title change. All kinds of fun stuff like that. Not Jacques Cousteau, Jacques Rougeau. 19K Fox, what's happening, my brother? I do not know that story, but we'll save that for another date. Guys, I've already gone over my hour. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I just really wanted to talk about how last week, even though we got some bad news from one company, a terrible glimpse into what the future might hold for one company, don't let the negative outweigh the positive, because last week was a very fun week. Felt like old times. We got, of course, game releases for Mac Games, like I talked about. It remind me of the old iArcade days of getting weekly game releases. We got that wonderful interview with Wonderland Amusements on their Alice in Wonderland pinball table that really brought about a warm, fuzzy feeling for me. It was great talking to the guys, hearing their passion for it, hearing their story and how they're hoping to make this project work. That made me happy. And of course, this iconic arcade tease that we've got right now, their sponsorship with Arc System works. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't think this is a one and done. Either this is going to directly result in an eventual Double Dragon cabinet, or it's building the steps towards something bigger. And I say maybe WrestleFest. Such a sloppy wrap up. I know I'm the worst at this. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. Enjoy the rest of your week. If you didn't get a chance, I did a review on the X Arcade earlier. Go check it out. Do me a favor. Tell your friends about me. Anyways, guys, until next time, this is Michael B. the Game Genie, and I'll talk to you later. I forgot the poll. So apparently this is something I always do. 149 votes 1 hour ago. I put up this poll. So here are the results. Coming in last place, Evercade Tomb Raider 2 came in with 8%. At Games Black Rose release was number 3 with 9%. 28% were all aboard the Alice Goes to Wonderland reveal, and the clear winner, which is no surprise to me. A lot of us are, previous Arcade 1-Up enthusiasts, excited to see these recreation cabs. Iconic Arcade Double Dragon cabs, clear winner, 54%. I promise next week, I'll try not to forget the poll. Good night, everybody.